How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Okay, great, awesome. So before we get started on talking about consent, could you introduce yourself to the viewers and tell them a bit about
Yeah,
you?
actually, this is Sathyavathi Pasunuri. I have pursued my level 2 from the Rakshin Project, and I'm looking forward to continue my rest of the levels as well. And thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us today. So as your experience, with your experience as a Rakshin and kind of going through the Rakshin project, I think you'll be well equipped to kind of talk to us about consent from the point of view of a comprehensive program.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a bit about firstly, what consent means and why it's so important?
Actually, a consent is something that which we give permission for to others. Like it's like, for example, if you have a friend with you, either it's a male or a female, if you are close to them and they are able to tell about you everything, which whenever the random person asks, that's the consent which you gave to him or her to learn about yourself, and the freedom which you gave to them to know you familiar, and it's like a soul connection actually, to let them come to you and do anything what they wanted with you. But
Right.
sometimes it doesn't work out actually. Sometimes you have to say no for something, so then you should be saying no. If it's no, it should be no. If something comes, it's to your privacy, you should say no if you won't agree with it. For example, there is a male friend of you and he wants you to take out, and he expects something rather than which you wanted to have. So that's not like you don't like to have it. So then you should say no. You
Absolutely right.
shouldn't give your
Yeah,
consent to him or her if they are behaving wrongly with you. If you know it's wrong, it's
mhm,
wrong to give your consent to him.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
So consent is not just about saying yes or no, but also making sure that
yeah. Saying
everyone
no is
has
also a
choices.
consent. Yeah.
Yeah. So making sure everyone's comfortable, making sure everyone makes a choice and the choice is respected.
Yeah,
Awesome. So, obviously consent is really important. So could you tell us how we can become more comfortable making it a part of our everyday lives and practicing it every day with the people around us?
yeah. Actually, for example, you might be a mother. You teach your daughter about this is wrong, but this is right. If someone randomly comes to you and asks you to hug you, it's not correct. Actually, the touch might be good or the touch might be bad. Actually, we don't know what the intention of person is actually. If it is a wrong intention, the touch goes wrong. If the intention is good, he never asks to the child to come. Few people literally show toys and everything which the children like chocolates and everything, to get them nearer to them and take advantage of it. That is wrong. So that is what the example I say to like parents or your friends or someone, to teach children to not to face such abuses furtherly. So
Definitely. And it's great that you're having these
if
conversations.
not only parent, a friend can teach, or you can teach your cousins, nephews, or the other. It might be a boy or a girl, younger than you or elder than you. You shouldn't feel shy to talk about what a consent is, what a sexual abuse is, and how it goes. You should be bold to teach them that this is a sexual abuse going on with you, to eradicate it. Yeah, this happened to you at that time, but now if you teach them, that won't happen the next time when it comes to the point where it is gonna happen. They can eradicate it actually.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right. So consent kind of, by having conversations about consent, we can make everybody more conscious about making it a more normal part of our lives and making all of our relationships more comfortable and fulfilling. Yeah. And so sometimes that can be difficult because consent has not become really a normal part of our everyday life. So, what are some of the difficulties that we face in giving, taking, and practicing consent in our everyday life? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Actually, giving consent is something like giving full-fledged rights to someone.
Hmm.
Like we can give, if it is a husband or a wife can give her consents to her husband because they know each other, they'll be with each other. If a daughter is there, daughter can give her consent to her parents or the one whom he or she trusts, because the trust is the important aspect which plays a crucial role to give a consent. So it's not blindly trusting someone and giving your consent. If you trust him or her, you should know about him or her. Firstly, the first thing is to learn about the people and the character, the mentality, everything you have to observe. I don't think children have that perspectives and mentality, so we have to make our children learn about those. So this perspective you should follow, and this in this aspect you have to go, and this is wrong and this is right. So if he says that, come to me, I'll give you something, that is absolutely wrong. You shouldn't ask the children like उलझाना उसको उलझा के ऐसे बातें करवा के taking advantage of it. It is completely wrong actually. So if it comes to
Definitely.
not giving consent, if you feel the person is doing wrong, then you shouldn't give consent to him. Either if you are close to him or her, you shouldn't give the consent. As per me, my consent is with my father, my mother, and my friends who know familiar. But still, sometimes I get, I step backward to share something or to go with them or to do something, because in that aspect they are doing wrong. They are wrong in that aspect. So in within me, I'll judge myself, I'll do it in myself, and I'll tally it.
Definitely. So trust is a really
If
important part, right?
if
And
actually there is a
sorry?
question, actually if there is a question in life that why if parents don't support it, if parents don't support it, your child might be the victim of it. If you don't encourage your child, or if you don't educate your child regarding this aspect, she might face the abuse, and later on it will be problematic to the parent, and they will feel like, why didn't I teach my children about this? Why didn't I teach
Yeah,
my son
definitely.
about this or daughter about this? So that they came to me and they said me this. If you teach your children, they could come to you and they could say that this uncle did this to me. Is it right or wrong? This aunt did this to me. If it is a boy, this aunt did this to me. This sister did this to me. So is it right or wrong? If you teach them, they could tally it.
Definitely. And even if parents aren't supportive, there are other avenues where the legal system will support people, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the case of consent. So I totally agree with your point where trust is a really important part of consent. And
Yeah.
if we're not able to if we're not taught and there's a lot of fear and pressure, then consent isn't easy to give or take. So in such a case, could you give a few examples of situations where it's especially important for us to make sure that we're giving and taking consent?
Actually, for as I have learned in this session, giving consent examples are like, if you are with someone who's like he's your friend or someone, or if it's an
Hmm.
unknown person whom you are with at the time. So like you don't know him actually, so you're talking to him, and you moved on, but still you'll have a kind of phobia or a fear within yourself that if I share something, sometimes it may go wrong, because we don't know how the person thinks of you. At that moment he could melt you like butter, but still the next moment he will not be like that. He or she will not be like that. When they are taking chance, they'll be so good to you. After taking the chance, you don't know whether what they are going to do, or they mightn't care about you actually. What happened to you also, that doesn't matter to them.
In such cases, consent has to be continuous and it's kind of related to
Yes.
setting our personal boundaries in
Yes.
every situation. So, could you tell us a
Yeah.
bit about what you understand by personal boundaries?
Yeah, personal boundary is something that which we create for ourselves, like limiting people or limiting things to get them happen. Like for example, if you want to chill out with your friends, so you are going to enjoy, until an extent you can enjoy. If the limit exceeds, you can't even cross out your limits and enjoy. Something might go wrong at that moment. Someone might take advantage. So create your own boundaries where you feel protected and safe. So that the self consent does. The person who has self consent, he does, or he or she does it, creating his own boundary, limiting himself for things, if and like that.
Right,
Yeah,
that makes a lot of
live
sense.
in live we have so many questions. In evidence, is it important? And evidence plays a crucial role in child sexual abuse. If, if for example, if a girl got abused, she came to you and she said, "I got abused." That is not the thing. Some people might feel child is talking rubbish. It's not correct. If she says something, it is something which happened with her. So only she's saying, without anything, she can't come and blindly say that I got abused, bolke. So evidence plays a crucial role in having consent, and when a child gets abused, we find literally many cases in current situation, like we see so many rape cases and we can see so many abused cases. Even not even a girl, but literally boys get abused sometimes, but rarely. We don't know. The way of they express is the point. If you express that you got abused, then we could know that you got abused. If you don't express it and keep it within yourself, then we can't do anything.
Definitely. And
Yeah,
even if the evidence isn't there immediately, the most important point is to make sure that we believe the child and give them support, because that will give
yeah,
them more healing for the future legal action, than just legal action alone.
yeah. Actually,
Yeah,
if you
definitely.
parents don't believe, actually, if some of the parents don't believe that when a child comes and say, इसने मुझे यहाँ पे touch करा, they don't believe actually, because child can talk anything. But if they particularly say this happened to me, then the parents should take the further step, and they have to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Yeah,
When a child
definitely.
comes and says that it might be a relative or it might be a neighbor, it might be a friend does it, you should be bold and come to your parents and say that I got abused mama, I got abused dada, because of this person I got this and that. So please make sure that I shouldn't get abused the next minute. Make me
Yeah,
learn what is
definitely.
right and what is wrong. We can't initiate the minds of
Exactly.
children, but we can teach them. If we teach our children this, if we should actually, a parent shouldn't feel shy to teach their children about this aspect, because they have faced so many things within themselves and they were struggling. We are not living in 90s, we are in 20s. So the parents should be bold enough to say the children that this is wrong beta and this is right. In this aspect, it particularly means that you should teach your children about this. Even some parents might feel insecure to speak in front of their children about periods or about any abusive news which is coming on TV. They would definitely or literally they would skip the channel of that, so that the impact shouldn't fall on our children. That is the wrong one which they do.
Yeah.
They should watch the news completely and they should say their children this happened because of this beta. So you should be like, you should never get this happened. If something wrong is going on with you like this, come and inform us, we'll take care of it. They
Totally.
shouldn't teach its children like हम हमारे अपने में ही clashes हो जाएंगे if you say this बोल के ऐसे mentality create नहीं करना है children's में. That is the main thing they should do to stop this.
Totally. That's
So
a really
this is
valid
what
point.
I wanted to say in this session. And go ahead,
Okay,
Sanjana.
great. Awesome. No, yeah, I totally agree with what you were saying, and you made some really good points. And I think on the topic of parents kind of teaching their children, suppose in situations where children want to make choices, even if they're not good for them, like not eating properly, not studying, how can parents kind of respect their personal boundaries while also kind of helping them down the right path?
Actually, if the children don't want to do it, that activity, if he don't like eating paneer curry, so let him say no, because he don't like the curry which you make. Give him alternate choice of it. In certain aspect we find alternate choices, but in some aspect we don't even have alternate choices for that. So when it comes to eating and having some activities related to sports, games or studies, let them choose something which they wanted to choose. Give freedom to choose by themselves, because it's not something which don't have alternate. In education we have so many alternatives, Like they can choose the group which they wanted to. In foods, we have many varieties of foods which they can choose. But if they say no once, we can skip at that moment. For the second time, we have to make it in different way so that they could eat and enjoy the taste of food. Or we should encourage them in playing that sport. Basically, parents never let girls to play sports and games, because if you go and shorts and everything, people look at you blindly, like in a different angle. So the point of the viewer is wrong, not you. So your daughter is safe and good, she is correct, but the viewer is watching her in a wrong way. So when we try to educate the viewer, like this is the wrong way, this is right, you even have sisters, mother and everyone, then if we educate for one time, if he won't listen, it's his perspective and his mindset of looking in that way. So if he listens to us and he stop doing it, then it's okay. And if he does it continuously, like not listening to us and all, it's in the hands of the people who is there to take care of it. We have she teams and everything to take care of such people. So we are just initiating the thing. That's it. The rest of the thing depends on the person learning, who is learning actually. So
Definitely.
we can let the children choose by themselves in some aspect, and we can't let them choose in the other aspects which they shouldn't choose.
Totally.
Like what we are speaking about, they don't have choice in like choosing this. Getting abused is not a choice actually. It's completely offense to choose that getting abused is a good thing, so let me go and get abused the next time. That is absolutely wrong. If you got abused, you just go and inform someone whom you feel safe to inform, whom you feel secure. So this, in this aspect, this is wrong, and in the other aspect, sometimes it's correct.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you've told us a lot about consent, especially from the point of view of preventing child sexual abuse. So thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
your point of view on that.
Thank you so much for making me a part of this campaign and letting people learn about this. And I'm really excited to teach people about this.
I'm really glad
And
that's an
one more
important part
thing,
of it.
and one more
Go
thing
ahead.
I wanted to say is most of the people don't come like this and say that this is wrong and this is right. When you initiate, I mean, like when you feel confident and make your train your mind to express everything, then you can say it out. If you stay dumb and you don't want to say it, ये लोग ऐसे सोचेंगे बोल के, if you stay there itself, you can't move forward and you can't educate people actually. If you start speaking out regarding this, then you can eradicate everything, and then India will be a rape-free country and abuse-free country. Literally, when we start talking about this. I'm sorry. When we start talking about this, India will be at the last place. Now India is in some place where it's the rate of rapes and sexual abuses are more in India. We see many other countries like USA, UK, Italy and everywhere. The culture, customs and traditions over there are completely different from India. In India, if you wear salwar kameez also, they look at us in a different angle. The way you see is wrong, man. In UK, we find many people wearing shorts and roaming on the streets of the place. They never look at that perspective because their parents educated their children to see in this way. This is not wrong, this is not right. It's equal for men and women to choose by themselves and to go in a way which they liked. If it comes to abuse, you shouldn't abuse a girl or a boy. So the perception of the person who is seeing is wrong. If we educate them, it will come right. It will become right literally. So that is what the conclusion I wanted to say. And thank you for this opportunity, Sanjana and the Rakshin
Definitely.
team, making me a part of this and letting me educate more and more people.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining us
you.
today and talking about
Thank you so
equality and
much,
consent.
and viewers, thank you so much for joining live.
Yes,
We are glad to see you here watching us live, and we hope that you'll come forward and teach someone about this abuse, and you teach your children or your friends or someone regarding this and help us to eradicate child sexual abuse. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Satyavati, and thank you everyone for joining us. And
Thank you,
once
Sanjana.
again, before we end, once again, all of our viewers, I'd like to invite you to consider supporting the Give India fundraiser. The link is in the bio. And hope you have a good evening. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.